My name is Zawede Goretti. I'm a teacher at Rock of Joy Children's Center. I teach primary 1 and primary 2, agriculture and religious education.
I am teacher SMS. I teach primary 1, mathematics and our local language, Uganda.
My name is teacher Monica. I teach baby class. I take English and numbers.
Rock of Joy Children's Centre is an independently run school that helps even kids from the poorest families get an education. On the outskirts of Uganda's capital, it has been reaching the community in a village called Lunguja since 2002.
After recognizing the need in my area, especially when I saw children playing around at my church during hours where they should be at school, I actually got concerned and tried to find out why they were there. Many of them, they were not getting school fees, and those who had school fees, they had other problems. They couldn't meet some other school requirements. Some of them didn't have uniforms. Some of them were not paying money for lunch or nourishment. So they were sent home for many, many reasons. And more especially when my young daughter called Joy, she was 6 by then. She was in P1, but whenever she could come back from school, her fellow children, her age mates, would always come around her to teach them what she had learned from school. And I was very, very much concerned why she was always with the children. And she told me that, Daddy, you see these children, because they don't go to school, they want me always to teach them what I have learned from school. And so that stirred up my heart actually to pick the vision which was already in my heart. And I made sure that something has to be done for these children.
There were only a handful of pupils on the first day. Now there are over 300. With support from the UK as well as his church and family, Pastor Stephen has developed the structure of the school from one room to now include several classrooms, an area to prepare food, a courtyard and an outhouse. With this growth and expansion, the school has had to acquire more materials and a bigger workforce to keep up. There are now 7 classes and 11 staff. On a daily basis, the school now provides uniform, books, teaching and nourishment. But most importantly, teachers that care for the children. All this as a free gift for the families in the area, some of whom are so poor they have to send their kids begging every day. The last thing they are able to contemplate is paying for their children's education.
My name is Edward Semaguru. I live at Lunguja. I'm primary 1.
Edward goes to Rock of Joy but lives here with all his family, in this small room. The house is in a part of the village over 3 miles walking distance from the school. But as we spent more time with Edward, it soon dawned on me that I didn't know the half of it.
Okay, this is Edward Semagulu. He comes to Rock of Joy Children's Center. He's in P1, but he has a problem with his bones. He has got TB. He was taken to hospital and they told him that he has TB in his bones. Especially the spinal cord disturbs him and he doesn't have treatment for that. And the parents don't have money to take him for proper treatment. So he's just here. He doesn't have food to eat, so he doesn't have anything and needs to get treatment. They told him to take tablets every day, but there's no money to buy them.
Edward chooses to walk 6 miles a day to be at Rock of Joy, even with a sickness that has bent his spine and left him hunched. Such is the hope a free education brings. But his poverty, hunger, living conditions and mobility are dragging him down, holding him back. Even with the obstacle of school fees eradicated, some children still find they can't always get to Rock of Joy. And if they do attend, they are not in a fit state to get the most out of it.
I think the main difficulty is essentially poverty. And most of these children come from families that one way or another are affected by HIV and AIDS or other issues. So if they do have parents that support them, they're often very, very poor. So these children, even from an early age, will be collecting water, will be maybe helping the family to try and earn some sort of money. And so many of them were just on the streets. And also health itself. One example is a child whose father is currently dying from HIV, and this boy's contracted TB. The family didn't have the sort of wherewithal to have him treated because his father was so ill, and those kind of things just prevent lots of these children from getting access to education.
The children don't get food at home. They are being mistreated by their parents. They don't look after them. They don't wash their uniforms. They don't have time for them. They don't show them love.
But what did you do?
Rock of Joy and its supporters have radical ideas to combat these issues and go further to help these kids than simply providing a basic education.
Right here, we are trying to find a better place for our children to sleep in, because quite many of them come from very far from the school, and others find it really hard when they go home. When we give them our homework, they hardly do the homework because of the domestic work that they do at home, and they sleep very late. Really, it is always hard when they come in the morning, they are dozing in class.
At the present time, probably about 10% are looked after in a boarding house, where they get all their care. And those are children really who come from the most difficult family background or have no family at all. And again, we're looking at perhaps over the next year or 2 years at extending that. We have another building we're hoping to develop into another boarding house.
Because many of them come with big sores, big wounds, and because of the bruises they get from home, because many of them stay with their stepmothers, stepdads, and also from their guardians who cannot help them in that manner. So we plan to put up a clinic here to make sure that we give them good treatment.
Establishing a boarding house and a medical clinic are relatively unprecedented steps for a school like Rock of Joy, but ones that make a massive difference to the lives of those children who are part of the scheme.
I mean, for example, this boy we were talking about, we have a nurse who's been taking him backwards and forwards to hospital to get his treatment monitored, and they're getting some help.
Your worries and fears become your friends, and they end up smiling at you.
I think already it's made a huge difference to him, because I think his parents or his mother expected him to die, and I think the tendency then was just not to bother with him. So he wasn't being fed, he was getting thinner and more frail, and he's just been transformed by the care that they've had at the boarding house.
Because we believe each child is an adventure into a better future, we think that it's our greatest opportunity to change the old pattern and make it new.
All it took was a vision and a committed partnership, and with ongoing support from all over the world, the Rock of Joy Children's Centre can continue being a beacon of hope in a community that could have already given up.
Keep on smiling for me.